record to the computer. And that should be everybody on here. Good. Okay. So welcome back. Hi, 2026. Hope you all had a nice Christmas and you all had a nice break. Um, we're going to start off with Loewe this year. So obviously we've seen Jonathan Anderson move from Loewe to Dior, and you've probably all watched the Dior show. So it was quite an interesting one. So I'm just going to share my screen. Let me just share this. I'll just put on the slideshow. Okay, let's move that over here. All right, so yeah, welcome back, Loewe, uh, illustrating fashion, quite a lot this evening. And as we try to do with this series, some of you do many, and what we do to keep it within an hour is we condense down to the ones that we think really work, or if you have similar styles, we compress them down so at least we can talk about one of them of that style. So we kind of get through as much as we can within the hour. So it's not on forever, so we kind of get through it. And also we've got a few new people on here, so when your work comes up, you can come and you can kind of jump in, turn on your screen, and we can see who you are, and you can have a look. So we'll kind of start here. I've got a feeling Carlotta. I think I saw her name. Maybe I was wrong because I know she's Australia. No. So Carlotta, I don't. I guess maybe what I might do in the future is start putting up some of your Instagram. But most of you, when we share them, we if we create a little piece online, you should be able to find all these characters either in Slack or on Instagram. You know, we tag as many people as we can to keep you all sort of buzzing and alive. We can't tag everything, but we try to tag as much as we can. Yeah, so I guess Loewe for Carlotta. Carlotta has a very sort of drawn back style, an interesting approach to drawing, almost from a designer's approach. I think Carlotta also works as a stylist. So the way that she approaches drawing, has a little bit of product design feel to it, and also a fashion design vibe. And I don't actually know if Carlotta's based in Germany or Australia at the moment, but she kind of switches between two spaces. So you can see it isn't just an Australian look and feel. You can see a bit of that sort of German feel of stripped back, raw, uh, sort of brutalist marks and shapes. And I quite like the fact that it's on this sort of off-white paper in the background. So it feels quite drawn and illustrated. And we're noticing, this is really nice to see the ability to draw. And all of you have seen that Valentino, Hermes. I shared something about Hermes recently, and the recent Dior show is really pushing fashion illustration and fashion drawing. So I think 2026, if I'm not wrong, will be the year that fashion illustration will have a really good, powerful year, especially with the boom of AI and the overuse of AI only gives the opportunity for craftsmanship and handmade work, and that can be digital as well. It's just the idea of drawing. So Carlotta, a lovely piece, and look, she keeps to this sort of red, black, and white, so very tonal. Next was Kahori. Um, I thought it was a good use of the L shapes. I know MM Paris designed the typeface for Loewe, and they designed this sort of monogram for Loewe, and I thought it was a really interesting way of thinking about how to integrate a fashion illustration with a letter form, and for commercial use as well, because Laura Lane, and we've seen lots of illustrators um, applying their work to either bottles, products, shapes, and forms. So I really liked that image. I think I can see someone's asking, have we started Zoom? So I don't know if she's trying to join, but I'll try and see if we can batch her in. Um, yeah, so a really nice Kahori, and I don't know if you want to share anything because, and I'm trying to think where you're based, Kahori, or is it Michelle?
Hello, can you hear
Oh,
me?
hello, you remind me, is it Michelle or Kahori?
I'm Kaori. Michelle
Kahori.
is second name.
So, is
Kaori
Michelle
is
your last name or your middle name?
no middle name.
Your middle name.
Yeah,
And
I'm
I guess explain because I see you do so much different work and a whole sort of array of work. And on the right hand side, it almost feels quite almost collage.
yeah.
Is that
I
correct?
colors and hand drawing all mixed.
All mixed together. Nice. And I like this sort of birthday cake illustration idea and using the back of the shoe with the candle. And we know Loewe is very playful as a brand, and it's nice that you kind of tapped into that playfulness. And you could imagine a brand like Jacquemus or someone like that really resonating with I who want to be quite quirky, quite funny. And I think in this situation, they would kind of really like what you're doing and this how you're mixing and almost plating up. And I thought very sort of vivid, strong colors. It gives me a sense of when you use ink directly for woodblock printing or for lino cut printing, and you've got that sort of technique that looks like a printmaker, which I don't know how are you mark making to create like the logo and stuff.
Well, classic using hands, rulers, pen,
And
rubbers.
and 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 it look yeah because some of it's sort of disappearing at the top, which makes it feel like it was like made on letterpress or has a
Yeah.
woodcut feel, which is
Sometimes also using just only ripping by hands.
okay, yeah. So that's quite nice. It has that very raw feel to it. And then on the other side, you have the illustrated sort of versions with this letter form, which is really nice. And I like this idea because it's something that I could really imagining them using. And I think the main, well, the good news is, the very good news is recently, just before Christmas, um, one of the other artists, Lisa, who did something for one of the illustrating Dior,
Yeah.
she got commissioned for a big job from doing illustrating fashion. So, we tried to think about objectives and why, and that is really good news for me to hear. I did this because when I first started as a creative, coming up with your ideas and thinking of things to draw all the time is sometimes quite difficult, and you think, well, what's the point? And I think in this situation, it's quite nice. And it was really good to hear, and I was helping her doing her quote and getting some prices. And it was for a big campaign. And it was because of the work she did for Illustrating Fashion. So it is really good to kind of and I know it's hard because we all have jobs and we all have reality, but it's
Yeah.
nice if you put that little bit of energy in and you share it and someone sees it.
Yeah.
The
Can
proof is, it took probably, I don't know when we did the Dior project, but maybe 5 months ago. And after 5 months, because usually in ad agencies, they put your work up on the wall and they could say, oh, we've got a project coming up in 4 months. They're well ahead of us. So you don't know that, oh, in 5 months' time, I've had work where uh, people have gone, oh, I like this. And I was like, that was 5 years ago. So in theory, sometimes it takes a long time for things to get through. So we all want instant return.
no, not in my that not my case. It's
Yeah,
not my
no,
case.
but I'm just, it's not only for you. I'm telling everybody is
Yeah.
that there's a sort of like, I do this, what do I get back? Do I do this? I lecture at universities and students will say, I contacted this person, no one got back to me. Why didn't they? And it's very similar. And the thing is, everything takes time. And I think that's the main thing. So I see you online. I see lots of work happening. All that can happen is if you keep doing it, keep creating stuff, keep communicating and sharing, good things will come in. And also creating work that you think, I could imagine someone using this. That's kind of a tough thing, but you've done it quite nicely. And I think in both ways, like the Loewe one on the right is more editorial, and the one on the left is more commercial. So I can see both of them used in different spaces. Obviously, editorial is paid a lot lower. So if you do more editorial work, just be ready that the commission fees are much lower. But the good thing about doing editorial work is the more you do it, the more people see it, the more you go into advertising. So it's kind of a process that you have to kind of go through. But lovely. I thought these were the two that I thought really stood out and had a really nice place. So excellent, Kahori. And Kahori, where are you based?
I'm Milano.
Milano. Oh, so you're
But
1 hour
I'm
in front.
away from Milano, but I'm access to Milano
Yes,
quickly.
you're only 1 hour, so you're not a problem for me. It's not too late for you. It's only 8 o'clock or
No, no,
something.
okay, okay.
It's not too bad. Okay, lovely. Well done,
So,
Kahori. Uh, I think it's Eloise. I'm not too sure if she's on here. Let's have a look if I can see. No, I can't see her name, but it's good for me to go through them anyway. An interesting thing about Eloise is I have, because anyone who puts work in or speaks to us, the interesting thing is to find out what do these people do. This person has a whole realm of different work outside of fashion illustration, doing set building and paper cutting and paper building. And it's really nice to see, look at the amount of detail that goes into that dress and the folding that goes in the jacket. It's a really interesting approach to illustration. And if you have the energy, Louise, you really need to think about, you could do 5 or 6 stop motion pieces and get this thing walking. And I think if you could get that walking, it would be really nice to see. And as we mentioned before, from one of the illustrating fashion pieces, someone got commissioned by Vogue and they had to see them making and drawing and animating. So that's some of the feedback that we get is we get contacted by trying to Laird Bard Pearson. She's the one of the editors for Vogue, and she contacted us and said, "Could you recommend some people who illustrate and also video their work?" So Magda was a great illustrator, so you may have seen her pieces. But Eloise, these are wonderful, and I just would love to see them animated. Next is Fulia. I can see Fulia on here. Um, I saw she
Yeah,
joined.
hello.
Hi, Fulia. So you did plenty of work, and one of the things I considered when you were doing them is the one of the ones I really like. We've seen many times and posted it and shared it. So
Yeah, I know. That's why I share with you. I know you like so much, but it has been, I think, that 2 years, which I did this, the back one, right?
yeah, yeah. It's that's one of my favorite pieces that you've made,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
know. I know. I shared for you.
yes, okay, okay, but I think these ones I really liked because I thought they were really fresh.
Yeah,
And I thought they were kind of the ones that I could imagine being used both in editorial, they
yeah,
could be used on Instagram, on social media for these brands, and also because the other thing is people are sending us, like I saw the animation, and the animation is like the drawing in process, which I think is quite good for you to show on Instagram. But now, because that's been done quite a lot, we actually have to think a bit smarter that what could you do? Maybe could there be reflections in the glasses that kind of move? Could the
uh-huh.
garment move a little bit? So people are expecting a little bit more than just a stop, almost a time lapse of you drawing. I think that was last year was time lapses. Now
Yeah,
we need to move into small little intricate things. So like on them shades, you could do a little bit of light moving around the edge of the shade,
Uh-huh.
light going across the glasses.
Yeah.
Maybe a shadow could be moving on the arm.
Yeah.
Little things, and then maybe even the background
Mm-hmm.
have just become a bit darker around by the face to give it a silhouette. And
Mm.
could
Yeah.
make this could just make it pop a bit and
Yeah.
not feel like a time lapse.
Yeah.
Because I think watching a time lapse, people will say, unless it's a finished piece and it's rubbed out a little bit, and then you're drawing, and then like almost like a charcoal drawing, then I think people will go, well, I don't need to see this anymore.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to think about that. And with the shoe ones, so all of these are done on the iPad, is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Generally, my style, I'm only focusing the hand drawing and the charcoal and the watercolor. I'm crazy about the watercolor and inky version, like the sumi ink for the Japanese style. But this time, I try to force myself to focus on more the digitalization. And also, I'm using Start for, I'm a fashion designer also because I
Yeah.
started working on the AI modeling, so I would like to combine the next step. I couldn't do that for on this, but I will try to do animation with the AI, with the iPad creation. I will combine together, but the next step right now. But just I'm warming myself, just the digitalization because generally I'm old school style.
Yeah.
So that's the next step for me. But yeah, that's why they are so clean right now because it comes from the old fashioned style. That's why they're so clean and solid. Maybe it's a bit how can I say that, pale.
Yeah. No, no, a pastel, not pale.
Pastel, yes, pastel.
Pastel, yeah. My personal thoughts are that if we look at trends currently,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the trends are leading towards people drawing more on paper, watercolors, and that style. So because of digital technology,
Yeah,
people are trying to find it changes from month to month. We like this, we like that, we don't like this. AI animation within illustration, how's that going to work? So everyone's playing, and I can see
yeah,
that. But I do feel for all of us, um, is as AI becomes more of a main feature in our process,
yeah,
is that if you keep look how strong the bag one is that you painted. The only problem there isn't a problem. The only thing is, and we'll come to someone later, is that making something by hand is hard and long
yeah,
and messy.
yeah.
So that's why people go, oh no, I'll just go on the computer, I'll do it on my iPad. So we lose that messiness, but that's what gives it the tactility. And
Exactly, you're right. Yeah,
so
exactly.
just be aware what you should do, because I know you're like a machine who makes thousands of pieces of work. So what you need to do is say, do you know what? I'm going to try and stop myself. I'm going to make a few drawings, and then I'm going to just do one long one, which is
Yeah,
going to take me 2 days.
exactly. You're right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so just
Absolutely
just
right.
be aware. What's happening here? Reaction. I don't know what this is. Anyway, okay. So all right, Fulia. So these are really nice. I like these. I
Thank you.
thought they were the most sort of attractive and very relevant, and they work, and they're really nice and clean, and they could work editorially. You just
Yeah,
need to think, how could they be positioned? Where
yeah.
are they going to be positioned in the market? And could they have a little bit of an animation on them rather than a time lapse?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're in
Mm-hmm.
a different.
Yeah,
Even the shoes could tap, like like sort of a Wizard of Oz concept. Because
yeah.
we're seeing these little ideas happening. So just think about little things like that,
Okay.
and that could be a simple animation. Because with Procreate, it's easy to animate the
Yeah,
elements. I think I'd rather be doing that than pushing them into AI at the moment.
yeah. And also, I'm gonna download the Procrea, the animation program. There's
Oh,
an
dreams. Yeah,
Yeah,
dreams.
dreams. Yes, I'm gonna work on it. I don't want to use, the Clink or the Mid Journey kind of, you are putting your sketches and they, the turn to do the animation. It's again. it's a very how can I say that, non-emotional part. If I
Yes.
use the Procreate Dream, I will use my hand, I will use my ways, so it's getting time and I will feel myself. But
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not sure yet. So
Yeah, I would advise you to do it all by stop frame, like using Procreate and Dreams.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank
Okay,
you so much.
good. Well done, Fulia. Lovely.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Tamio, I can see here. I didn't put you too early or too late. I thought this was a sort of fascinating piece. And I like this idea of the drawing inside the silhouette. You did something a bit different, which I think is quite nice. It has a sort of Van Gogh look and feel with the chair.
Oh, hello. Yeah, I just put it with the chair because it kind of because I was trying to illustrate the flamenco bag. So the chair has a kind of meaning in the flamenco dance where the guitar players sit.
Do
So
you,
that's
do
why
you, do
I
you think, Tameo, are you using Procreate?
no.
Right, because you do use digital tools, so I don't know
It's
why you
mainly
couldn't.
Photoshop.
But I think you could use Photoshop, but rather than that you using Photoshop where it kind of like fades from one image to another, I think like this flamenco dancer, you could have that image in the background and the silhouette moves so we can see more of the image. And all you need to do is spend probably 2 days drawing all the different assets for the flamenco dancer, and then you just do a mask. And I think you could easily do that.
Oh, I see.
Did I make sense?
Kind of make it a real flamenco dancer.
So
Is that
no. So keep the silhouette that you've got,
okay?
but make it move. Like I always tell you to make it move. But rather than doing fading from one position to another, I want that arm to actually move. I want you to create the different pieces that animate it from being up to down here, rather than it goes from there to there. So I want to see the little areas. So you could probably, it might take you, if you imagine 24 frames a second, you might take you 2 days to just do a 10-second, 20-second piece. But it would animate to go up and down and then back up again. And you could kind of loop that twice.
Okay, okay, I see. Kind
Does
of
that
frame
make does
by
that
frame.
make sense?
Yeah, because actually, yeah, I was thinking of doing that, but yeah, I didn't have much time. Yeah.
It's time, but I think because you've got that little drawing in the background, it gives us a little insight to what's in the environment. And I think it would be a nice thing to try because at the moment you've done a bit of animation, but you're doing what I would call the sneaky route, which is you're going from one position to another rather than like an onion skin where you do all of the times in between it. You're not doing them.
Yeah, because of the
Well,
time. Yeah,
but I think if
maybe.
you use Procreate, it enables you to shift. Like if you used Flash, did you use Flash before? Do you remember Flash?
Yeah, yeah, long time ago.
Did you
Yeah,
use Flash?
yeah, a long
Yeah.
time ago.
So Flash was able to move shapes, and
Oh, I
as
see.
long as the shape didn't go across itself, you could move them arms. So I think Procreate's very similar. It enables you to move an arm and move it down, and it actually can fill in some of the spaces in between to speed up the process. And all you need to do is move that dress over. Just I think you're looking at about 50 frames.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah, because
two
yeah.
days, but it's only just drawing the silhouette and then keep making the silhouette. Yeah. So I think do that, and I think that would be really nice to try.
Okay, yeah, because I use the one that I did with the animation. I use the kind of the Illustrator.
Yes. Yes. So sometimes it works because when I watch some of your animations, some of them I'm like, oh, that's a nice animation. And then the other times I'm thinking, ah, she's used a sneaky move and did it the quick way.
Yes.
So don't do the quick option because all of us viewers who use all these tools, who work with animators, will be like, that's like a simple cheat, and you're not doing the hard work. The hard work pays off. It just takes time.
Okay. Yeah,
All
okay.
right.
I'll
So
try.
don't try the cheap route. Well done, Tamio. Excellent. And welcome. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year too. Thank you.
Nina, are you on here, Nina?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello, Nina. So I'm trying to think of the artist. I'm going to have to find him for you. There's an artist who's drawing a little bit like you in VR. He's a quite a famous artist with the big shoe that you drew. But I think this one I think is working the best, and I like the
Mhm.
best, and I really remember it the most. And by the end of this year, you should have a huge collection of shoes, which is a
Yeah.
good thing. And I think it would be nice to see how they all work together as a big series of shoes. And 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 I think this as a little print would be really nice. I almost from when I've done stuff like leaves and like what you've done here, is I would look at Henri Matisse, his book on, it's called The Paper Cutouts, and you could paint like that green and then cut it out rather than so play with like cut out the leaf, then cut out the flower, then do another piece, and then maybe you could paint on that well, and it might give it a little bit more sort of a relief effect. But I still like this, and I think these are really nice. And what you need to do, Nina, is you now need to start, like which I've said to a few people, is start reaching out to people and say, I'd love to draw or draw some of the shoes that you see on the catwalk or some of the shoes that you see online that celebrities are wearing, and it because most people focus on the face, where you're actually could be looking at the hand and the bag and looking at the accessories and illustrating them, and you could be Nina the accessory person.
Mhm.
So, and then work comes up because you've kind of got a combination of like painterly, felt tip, marker. It's got quite a unique look and it's very punchy. So I think in America this really works. In the UK it's too bright. Like British audiences, this is too bright. Like they don't like too many bright colors. We're quite miserable in England. So these are really supersonic colors. Like Miami, we're working with Bal Harbour. They would love something like this.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's nice and bright. So think about accessories. Tag in Bal Harbour, and even tag in Deborah Frank, who's the editor of Bal Harbour magazine. She's always looking for new artists. She's used Kelly Bailey 2 or 3 times now.
Okay.
Yep, good.
Yeah.
Nina, excellent, and Happy New Year.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well done. Iona, let's see if Iona's on here. Nope. Iona, a great piece. You submitted two. I thought this was the best piece. Again, this is a great illustration, and we saw lots of illustrations similar to this style, but almost oversizing the garment to give some sort of elevation to it. But I thought this was a really nice image, and as like we've been speaking on here, is you need to do a consistent series of this look because I feel that this look, you've got something and you're sort of character building your people. Um, don't flitter and flatter between too many versions, but this version, I think you've really got the character right, the hair's slicked back cool, and the garment's good. So my advice on this one, I think really just go for you illustrating similar to this style, different looks, different people, different characters, and I think it could be really nice. So please consider um, doing something a little bit similar to this, but a different look. So cheers, Iona. Selma, I don't think she's on here, Selma, but Selma, we had a big discussion about you, Selma, because every time I talk to you, I give you lots of different advice and feedback, and I can see you're kind of going through a very experimental period. So I'd like to see how this is going to progress and what is your thought process and what's in your mind, and how are you creating this and what is feeding your sort of creative mark making. Just be aware that when you're illustrating stuff, these little scribble marks sometimes can just look like you've kind of lost love for what you're doing and you're just going, okay, I'll just put something in there. So just be aware of any mark making that you make, like scribbles and stuff like that here, especially. Again, make it more considered. That's the sort of feedback that I would usually get, is if you're doing something like scribbling, make it more considered rather than like as if you're filling it in and not thinking about it. So look at David Hockney's early etchings. He's got beautiful mark making, and I think his etchings would give you some inspiration because you're doing line work, you're doing sort of collage, you're really playing, and you're doing exactly what I do. And I go through your journey, so you're not alone, like, with this very experimental approach to drawing. So well done for experimenting, and I know it's just a case of keep working with it. How's it working? Pushing it more, pushing it back, and then one day it clicks. Uh, Lucia or Lucia, is Lucia here? I don't think Lucia's here. Anyway, Lucia. I like this. I don't know the original image if they had these nails, but these nails really stood out, and I was trying to work out, are these some sort of vampire nails? When you're doing a drawing, things like that, if you've added them, was there a purpose for it? Was it trying to create? Are you character building on this? And I thought this was nice, and I'm trying to work out, did you draw the image in the background? How did that work out? So there's a real mix mash of styles. And the other thing is, where do you imagine this work going? So the big question I always speak to people is, you make work, where's it going to go? Who's going to feature it? What magazine's going to show this? How do you see you making money from this? And that should, because if you want to be a commercial artist or commercial illustrator or whatever it is, who's going to use this work? So within this, I think this little Loewe bag with this little bird on it, I'm not too sure if it's a swan or a peacock or something, but I thought this bag was lovely. And an art director would say, can you just swing that bag? And I think that would be the only request that someone might have. And this one, they might say, well, maybe we don't need too much of the background because it's taking away from the shoes. So maybe the background of this could have just been a color blocking and just illustrated shoes for accessories for an editorial. That's how I think, and that's how you potentially get work. So Lucia, well done. A lovely few pieces. Anita, I'm not too sure if Anita's on here. But Anita, you sent in an animation. Um, yep, very blocky colors, high sort of high magentas, bright colors. Uh, yeah, and this sort of watercolor makeup around the face. Let's just think about the hair. So when I look at a drawing like this, I'm trying to think of what is important and what isn't important. So at the moment, the most important bit I can see is the makeup, and then maybe a bit more of that hair that goes across the face could be a little bit more like detailed, more in love with the hair, because you put it in the eye and in the face. But I just feel that, like, even in this side of the hair, maybe there could be a bit more detail to it because it's kind of lost it in the hair. Then you've kind of got this top with nice watercolors. I like that. And then I'd almost say you don't need so much watercolor. So maybe the background could be more of just one color, rather like a block watercolor, rather, or if you wanted to do, but don't add too many things in, because it's actually now what's important, the background, the top, who's important. So we need to work out what's the important part that we're trying to bring forward. So Anita, lovely. Laura, I don't know if Laura's here. Again, Laura, thank you. I think a lovely little editorial piece. Almost think that you could have actually made an animation that moves from each area around this picture, going from the bag to the shoe to the little bag here to the earring. The like if I was to zoom in on this element here, I love this little earring image. You could actually have compositions, small compositions within the main picture. So sometimes even cropping an image could actually bring in a new drama to the image. So you could actually play with composition. So I thought with this, you've got one, two, three, four, nearly five or six new little pictures which you could pick out, and people say, "Oh, that's a nice piece," and I like the hand holding the bag. That's enough. It's almost an over seduction of Loewe, where I think that little back bag in the background is beautiful, and the way you've painted it is really nice. So I would probably just even crop into them, and you can show me them. Iris, I don't know if Iris is here. Let's see if Iris is here.
Hi,
Iris, I can see you. Hello, Iris.
hi, how are you?
Hello. I really like these, and I'm trying to work out were they lino cuts, paper cuts.
Okay. The three on the right are paper cuts. I
Yes.
made a stencil for each color, for each character. And then with ink pads, little ink pads, I put
Yeah.
the ink.
Nice.
The left part is like afterwards, I wanted to take it a little bit further, more to experience more. I used, okay, the left one is transparent films, colorful transparent films. I just cut them and layer them. The middle one is ink that running on the same transparent film. So it's kind of a little bit it catches the color and resist it and something happens. And the right one is like most of the resist happened. I let it dry and I came the next day and the black faded away and created little bubbles and I liked it. And I layered
Nice.
two films, yellow and black inks on the films.
Right. So there used to be an illustrator who was on here who got featured by a show studio, and she had a sort of similar approach to you, a very experimental, creative approach. And if I'm looking at these, I like for me, texturally, I like them little bubbles and I think they really work. But when we think of a more complete piece, I think the little one where she's got the black dress and you can see the pink face, the pink arms, that one and the one next to it, the shades with the yellow dress, them two are, or that little series of three are the most complete. And I think when I looked at them, they were the ones that really feel like you've put in the most time, the most energy, and the three bigger ones, which I like, are the ones that are like the work in progress to get to these more refined ones. So in theory, um, if we go back to some of Dior illustrators and we think of there's Italian illustrators who've done almost lino cut, collage, paper, all mixing together, you're sort of bringing back a little bit of that cool factor of handcraft with block coloring without using Illustrator. For example, most people would say, "Oh no, I can't be bothered. I use Illustrator," but you're getting that lovely tactility in the mark making, and I think then three small ones. I would My advice to you would be I would draw, even pick two collections that you like, even from the couture collections, and make at least 10 versions. So go through each ones and pick 10 different designs that you like and do similar process. Maybe give it a color block background, have all the assets ready, and just show you them together as a reel online and film it.
Film the process or film the
So
result?
have all the assets ready, and then just putting them together to make that head, the body, that
Ah,
yellow leg, the
yes.
arm, and you just kind of put it together, and that could be done. So I see a bit of your hand in there, and it shows a little bit of the making of this, like a puzzle, making
Yeah.
this figure. Even though you know where everything is, you could reverse it. You could make it and take it apart and then just reverse the videoing.
Yes.
Yeah, so you could, I would do that and show that as a reel. Also, I don't know if you're using Instagram stories, but I would use Instagram shorts, sorry. Do Instagram, sorry, YouTube shorts. Do you use YouTube?
No.
Right, so YouTube Shorts is really good now for doing shorts that could feed into your Instagram as well. But doing both is sort of a place. And I think these could be really nice. And if they were on color blocked backgrounds or even a floor in one color and a big block color on the back, so it could be two
Yes.
color. I think these would be amazing. And if you did them as a series, the other thing is they're nearly a little bit too short in height,
Too short in.
too normal. The height of them are a little bit small.
Ah,
So that
really?
that that leg, so see the yellow leg on the black dress, that should
Yes.
be another. So you must have it because I know you go to the fashion school. So in theory, nine heads, you need one more head.
Okay.
Yeah, have you read
Yes. I
Nine
use
Heads?
the picture from the Vogue runway.
Yes, no, I know. But as a fashion creative, you need to elongate it just a little bit more.
I understand you now. Yeah.
Yeah, can you see it? Does she look? She looks normal. That
Yeah.
yellow leg, that
Very
yellow
pretty
leg could
normal. Yes.
easily be one more bit because where her foot is, her ankle could go longer and just go a little bit more further down, and she'd be perfect.
I understand you. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
good.
want to say something, if I may.
Yes,
For several years, I made a fashion illustration only using Procreate. I got my style, which was different from this one. It's the first time I now just signed up for Fida, and I said I want to bring my world of crafting because I do crafts all the time and experience and play with materials to fashion illustration. I want to not to touch the digital tools right now and bring myself into it. And I really worked hard on processing what am I going to do and understanding this show and understanding what it meant. I mean, I'm happy it worked because it was my
yes,
first time.
I think it did, and I think. It's really good that you went back to traditional processes and not focused on too many things like the face or the details. You focused on the silhouette. You focused on the proportions of the body. If she was a little bit longer, I think it would have really appealed to the fashion market a little bit more. Being that
Mhm.
bit taller, our job as fashion illustrators is to elongate, not too much, just that little bit, and then it I think the yellow one girl with the shades, you could get away with. She's just okay. But the woman in the black, her legs too short. So it always sings out to me, too short. So I think I'll just elongate that. And I love this process, but you need to do now that you've got into this. And if you're, because are you still at university?
No, no,
No.
I'm older than this.
Ah, okay. Because I wasn't too sure because where are you based?
Tel Aviv.
Ah, okay. Because I connected you to the college. Are you part of? Were you part of the university? Which
Excuse
fashion
me?
did you go to fashion school?
No, it was like a more of graphic design.
Ah,
The-
okay, okay. So there's someone else who's from Israel. I was just trying to work out if it was you.
There
Okay,
are
so
several people, yeah.
yeah, so there's a few people now because I know Bar Percy has really caused a revelation
Yes,
over in
yes.
Israel, but she's been great. And someone like you, what I would do is if you can go to the reason I ask if you're a student is if you can go to the fashion shows, what I would do is turn up with loads of coloured paper, some prick stick, collage live and at maximum speed. So you've got lots of pressure.
In the fashion show?
Yes. So if you go to a fashion show or you're backstage, you sit there and you have your scissors and you're
Yeah.
ready and they come out and you're like really fast
Wow.
cutting
Wow.
and getting the silhouettes. Heads and arms you could kind of have ready, but the main silhouette you could get, and people would be fascinated to see you do it. No one does that.
Yes, I understand. Wow, it's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, do it. The
Yeah.
pressure will be on.
Yeah, I'm experienced with crafts and papers and cutting and mark making.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. I think you don't need to worry too much about them. Just have things ready. You can have paper that's been painted on already, and then when you go there, this color comes out. You go cut it, ready, stick. Next bit, the head goes on, the arm
Wow,
goes
it's
on,
great. I
everything.
love it.
Yeah, I think you should do it because this is perfect for live, fast, but you got to cut while you're there, getting ready quick. And you could do a bit of backstage, but this walking figure's fantastic. And almost like Richard Haynes, do some from the profile as well. Profile shot is always nice.
Great idea. Yes, I'm writing.
Good. Well done, Iris.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Well done.
Mhm.
Kelly's, I don't think Kelly's here. Kelly has gone on to do really well and she's doing some great work. So it's always nice to see Kelly getting involved. And Kelly's always experimenting with different mark making, being super creative. And I know Kelly's a busy person now. So we're lucky to get a bit of Kelly's work. And Kelly's got a fantastic style, technique, approach. And she's been doing work with Ungaro. She worked with Bal Harbour. So it's great to see a bit of Kelly's work. And, again, really interesting. And I know Kelly's been sort of grappling with techniques and styles. Is this too arty? Is this too not arty? And I think from a commercial point of view, she's sort of got to a point which is really nice. So, Kelly, always a pleasure to see. Well done. Carolina Bergin, I think you're on here somewhere. I can see your name. She's kind of in there. You might have fallen asleep. But Caroline, if you do manage to get us, these are fantastic, and I think like I was trying to say earlier to some people, is putting in the hard graft does pay off, and I think there's these are fascinating drawings, and it shows a real skill. So Carolina, well done. These
Thank you. I couldn't put the voice on, so
okay, yes. So these are lovely, and I think. What size are these, if you don't mind me asking?
yeah, they are not so big because I didn't have so much time. So they 40 by 60.
Okay, so 60 centimeters.
Yes, 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 of course.
So they're
It's
quite
quite small
big.
size.
Okay, so they're a little bit about A2 size.
Yes, yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay, so lovely. And how did you do them?
I use mixed media. I love watercolor, and this time I bought watercolor ink, which I loved. So they made with watercolor ink, and pastels, soft and oil as well, and some of crayons as well. Yes.
Nice. I can see a bit of the crayon to give us a bit of the texture, and I
Yeah.
like that you're getting quite loose down the bottom. It was really nice, and like I was saying to earlier, is I'm drawn up into them shades because the hair's kind of loosely done. So then them shades, the attitude of the lips, the light onto the cheeks is really nice, and I originally, I thought I liked the man with the blue glasses, but I think now I prefer the man with these new turtle shade glasses. I think he's super cool. He's got a nice attitude, and I think one of the main jobs when I was doing commercial work, more and more commercial work, is attitude. People want to know the attitude of the people that you're drawing,
Mhm.
um, and the images that you're kind of making. And I think what I would like to see is how these kind of sort of work in a new space. And I'm kind of trying to think to myself, like, if I was Prada, maybe these could work as a nice digital print on a garment or on a dress. I don't know if you've ever have you printed onto fabrics?
No, but I painted on the fabrics as well. So I tried before. It was many years ago now. I didn't do such a things. I come back to paper, and now I'm experimenting with like traditional materials because I love them.
Yeah. My advice to you is just keep drawing, painting, and potentially collaborating with people so you could just stick to drawing.
Yeah, yeah, I want to stick to drawing.
Yeah. I think you should, and I know, from seeing what you're up to, planning to exhibit, show your work, and obviously you love doing portraits.
Yes, that's
Um,
my thing.
yes, portraits is your thing. It's just how to get this into the market that it has a commercial side to it. I think it's got amazing possibilities. These are I think I prefer these to the pieces that you create for the awards.
Yeah, okay. Thank
I,
you.
I think the attitude's better. So
Mm-hmm.
I really like these. So Carolina, these are excellent. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Good. Susanna, I'm not too sure if Susanna's on here. Let's have a look. No. So Susanna, let me just go back. Sorry, I just want to talk about Susanna's. Yes, I like this idea of drawing. Like you sent a video, and I like the approach. And this was quite a quirky. I like these sort of big eyes. Really interesting way of doing it, and this sort of squared off background. This is definitely something like an invitation you could imagine Loewe using this for. An illustration, you don't know where your work is going to come. And if you look at someone like Dries Van Noten, who used, I can't remember her name now, Jill Button. I don't know if anyone saw the Jill Button work, but Dries Van Noten used lots of her work on postcards and then went into shops and stores. So I think, Susanna, there's a real, I think your work will work good small, and then in time people will start using it bigger. I think there's some real nice potential here. You're starting to really get there and get these characters. Maybe obviously we're using an image from an ad. I would try to go on to Loewe's website or look at people who are like less celebrity based and draw them characters and see what happens and see how you illustrate them rather than the campaigns. I'd be interested to see if you were drawing some of the backstage people at Loewe, how do they work out as characters? So maybe that's a sort of an angle for you. So have a think about it. Ina, I know Ina's on here. I'm sure I saw her name.
Hi,
Ina's on.
hi Patrick.
Hi, Ina. Happy
Hi.
New Year.
Thank you, you too.
Right. I picked these two. The one on the left with the big leaf.
Oh yeah.
The
Sure.
other one you gave, I felt has a similar tone to this. So
Yeah,
I thought
exactly.
I'd show this, and I know you're sort of playing with this sort of watercolor style
Mhm.
mixed with sort of drawing, and I'm trying to think, where are you going to take this? I think the coloration's really nice, and I can see you kind of playing with watercolors. I'm almost, for me, I'm starting to gravitate more to the one on the right with the fruit, which seems a bit more experimental. And
Mhm.
obviously, they were great images made by Loewe with the fruit. And I think there's something there where the eye is bleeding into the sort of the void, where the one with the leaf feels more like something that could be for a book.
Mhm.
Yeah, like if I was imagining a book illustration, this would make a really nice, like if they did a lookbook, if Loewe did a
Right. Yeah,
lookbook,
yeah,
it would
yeah,
make
yeah.
a nice illustration for a lookbook, where the one on the right is more of an artistic impression of the brand. So you have, like, I'm just trying to think if I was commissioning work from you, where do I see this work? Because the one with the leaf, as much as I'd love to say it's editorial, if it was in the right magazine, but it's too sort of arty for editorial and not arty enough to be something inspirational. So it kind of leads to a book, and that could be lookbook. So I would be thinking, how does my work and I don't know if you look at lookbooks much, but I know you probably have access to libraries, but go and have a look at brand lookbooks
Mhm.
and see how they what is the composition of lookbooks. I love looking at if you go to Prada's website, even Rain's recently, I've been looking at Rain's quite a lot. How do they almost, because the lookbook now is the e-commerce on the websites. It's the photography that they use. Mui Mui is masterclass for e-commerce lookbook images. So if you go to Mui Mui, I think they're the best at it, and they really give you a figure from a really interesting angle. And I think the nice thing is they have to do crops, they have to do full figure, they do quarter figure. So if you had a series of drawings of the same image from the same content, but it's shot from different viewpoints,
Mhm.
you're almost drawing like a lookbook. And then what that does is it makes an art director think, okay, it's really nice how you've drawn the same product, but different from different viewpoints. So then you're kind of feeding the art director to go, well, this person does exactly what I would like. A picture of a hand with the bag, then a picture of the full figure with the bag, and then a three-quarter shot with the bag, and then maybe a detail of the bag. You've done all of that. And it's a really nice approach to think about them sort of avenues rather than each drawing is a new image.
True, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so think about it like that. And I remember when I was at the Royal College, we were always challenged with draw the same picture 10 times
From different perspectives, like.
from different perspective or different materials. It-
Mhm.
how do you keep drawing the same thing
Mhm.
over and over and over? I know you'll either get it will get better or it will get worse or it'll get good again. And it's really challenging to draw the same thing many times over. And you on that journey, by I think you usually by number three or four, you really do a masterpiece. And then it goes bad again at seven, and then you might get one at nine, which is okay.
Mhm.
So but that's the art of all these different shots. But if you do it from different viewpoints, I think from an e-commerce point of view, because us as creatives, we have to think, how are we going to make money?
Mhm. It
I want
is.
to make money. At the end of the day, it's nice to draw pictures, but how does this translate into cash? So you can then double love what you do. So I think lookbooks, think of brands, think of how you could, even on the next one that we do, you could go, okay, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to go on the site. I'm going to look at the e-coms and I'm going to go, I'm going to draw this, draw this, draw this, the same thing from the different points that they've given me.
Okay, I will try that out for the next
Yeah.
part.
The one on the right, I think, is really playful and experimental. Has a sort of Marlene Dumas approach, which is really nice. And I love how the eye's starting to bleed out. You probably could give less information,
Yeah.
but I think I can see you really playing a lot with what you're doing. And sometimes what I do is, if I'm doing a drawing like what you're doing, is maybe the cropping could be more interesting.
Yeah, yeah. To play around with the
Play
crop.
with the cropping. And I think
Mhm.
one thing I notice when we do it is you like to see that it's not got a perfect. And most of my commissions, people go, I love it because it doesn't go to the edge. That's usual feedback for me is
Yeah.
I like that I can see the edge and it's raw. But sometimes it's nice to crop in and you could have an eye and the edge of that piece. How does that look? And I think
More details, yeah.
yes, I think because you've got once you zoom in on that
Mm-hmm.
or photograph it really nicely with a macro camera or a macro lens, you could get a really nice picture of that detail. Don't just crop it, actually go in and photograph that detail.
Yes,
Don't
that
don't be lazy and then just crop it in Photoshop.
mm-hmm.
You actually have to zoom in and then it picks up all the pigments and the details even more.
More qualitative, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But excellent. Nina, brilliant.
Great, thank
Ina, not Nina. Ina.
Yeah, we have a Nina
Good.
also, but
Well done. Thank you, Ina.
thanks,
Excellent.
Patrick, for your
Thank you.
comment.
Good. Who's next? That's not it. Is that? I don't know. I think that's everybody on here who entered. That must be it. What time is it? 1 minute over. Perfect timing. So hopefully that's helped. But just as a sort of an overview of everything, um, like I told you, over Christmas, I had a call while I was shopping for Christmas presents, and one of Lisa Nicotina, who was doing some of the drawings for Dior, she was telling me from the Dior project, I've now got a big commission. So this is great news to hear that from doing these little challenges, and I know they're kind of taxing sometimes, and you've got other stuff to do, and you want to go out and you want to enjoy yourself, but you know, putting in a bit of the hard work really pays off. So you know, I know how hard it is to do extra work and get involved, but thank you, and I think it hopefully this helps and just take on a few of the ideas that we've kind of gone forward. So well done, everybody, and happy New Year. It's nice to be back. We've had a long time, maybe too long off. I feel like I haven't spoken to everybody for a long time, so it's nice to speak to you all and keep up the great work. Keep sharing, keep tagging. We like to see you tagging all the time. We may not share everything because we can't share the same people 1,000 times. We try to be selective, but keep tagging us. You never know. All right. So have a good evening. Enjoy your dinner. And well done. And thank you for so much beautiful work. Well done. Bye bye.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.